should read subject number 3 is, who is Francia Marquez? Who is Francia Marquez? This came with a link. Let's check it out. On the other side, we'll discuss who is Francia Marquez.
Leading vice presidential candidate Francia Marquez doesn't look like nor has the resume of a traditional Colombian politician, yet she has become a political phenomenon, giving a voice to the country's marginalized communities.
I didn't ask to be in politics, but politics messed with us, and now we mess with it. And we're messing with politics because they always told us it wasn't for us, that politics was for others.
Marquez's rise has been meteoric. As a Black woman and environmentalist, her message and candid language propelled her to third place in the country's March presidential primary, compelling the leading presidential candidate, Gustavo Petro, to choose her as her running mate.
Colombia can't accept a woman that the elites see as their housemaid. We were limited to one role, and she's changed that, showing us and our daughters that we can be what we want, even president.
As a single mother, she worked as a housemaid, but managed to get a law degree and was awarded the Goldman Prize in 2018, the world's most important prize for environmental activists.
Es hora de actuar.
She has survived attempts on her life after confronting illegal gold mining mafias in the conflict-ridden region around her hometown.
Francia's persistent denunciations of Colombia's social disparities has sparked an almost unprecedented national conversation about race and class, exposing deep and long-standing roots.
And the backlash has been swift. On social media and in the streets, she has been the target of racist attacks. A well-known Colombian singer called her King Kong. She has even had to cancel campaign events. During a rally in Bogotá, she was targeted with a laser and forced to leave the stage. Yet her success has convinced other presidential candidates to select Afro-Colombians as running mates. Luis Gilberto Murillo, running for centrist Sergio Fajardo, says it's about time to start dealing with Colombia's history of racism and bigotry.
There's an entire legacy of structural racism that has denied from the start our existence, dignity, and humanity. People ask me why I always wear a suit and tie. I don't like ties, but when I don't use them, I am racially profiled, harassed, including by the police.
To a segment of Colombians who are clamoring for change and for more diverse representation, Marquez is their champion, even if only as a vice president. The question is whether the rest of the country is ready for her. Alessandro Ampietti, Al Jazeera, Cali.
Interesting story. Yeah, I was checking out her story on, I think last week on Twitter and stuff. People were posting about her and stuff like that. Beautiful sister, and she accomplished a lot. She born in 1981. That's very interesting. She's a Colombian human rights and environmental activist and lawyer, as the video said, who's the vice president-elect of Colombia. She's Afro-Colombian, as you can see. That's a picture over there on the right-hand side. The BBC in 2019 listed her as one of the 100 women of the year. And, kudos to her. Kare, were you familiar with Francia Marquez?
No, just like with you, I just saw it this week, and I'm like, Well, what I'm seeing from the story, I'll make it short, is just like in America, seeing in Brazil, now I'm seeing in Colombia. What I've always known for years, the Black population in this part of the world is rising. The people in the power, they know it. They just don't want to say it. But now they're saying, for us to get anywhere now, we need a Black candidate. We got to get. It's like the Democrats needing Black people to get them in. They're in trouble in November. So I think they're saying the same. I don't know anything about Colombian politics, but that's what I suspect is going on down there now in Central and South America.
Jay, had you heard about Francia Marquez before?
No, but she she felt like the sun rays her rays touched me in this short fragments. I there's she's powerful. In the 80s, I somewhere I catched that 80% of Colombia is black, and that you never see you know, in the soccer team or on television, you rarely see a black Colombian. And maybe 80% is exaggerated, but I understand the majority of Colombia is black. And finally, you know, in the Spanish or Latino hemisphere or sphere or world, it's it's nearly obvious that the black or automatic that black folks step back to make room for white folks. So I'm only uh, happy to see these type of developments. You know, language is a reality construct, and I believe, you know, I come from a Latino-ish language. I believe our languages are the parents of Portuguese and Spanish anyway, but and not bastardized Portuguese or bastardized Spanish, but in this Latino world, the language is very powerful, and black is almost synonym as ugly, for example. So it's kind of harder to escape racism mentally, you know. So I'm only yeah, more than happy to see these type of developments in the Latin world.
Absolutely. You know, there was a time in the Caribbean and stuff, and I imagine South America, where you didn't really see dark skinned folks at the forefront of like TV or at the forefront of businesses and stuff like that. It changed in the Caribbean in the late '80s a lot, early '90s. Um, Now Colombia, and I see Afro Native World is saying exactly those thoughts I had. Colombia is you know, there's a small black population. I don't know how big it is. Actually, Afro Native World just said it right there. He said Colombia is 10 to 20% black, but you wouldn't think there are black folks in Colombia because all you see is the dudes like on Narcos and stuff. What's what's the popular drug dealer name again, Mr. Untouchable? Because you know all drug dealers. What's the popular drug dealer?
Escobar.
Escobar, yeah. Right? Everyone that you see looks like Escobar in them, but there's actually a black population there. Afro Native World said that Francia's region is majority black, and she's from like the coast. The Pacific coast is majority black in Colombia, so that explains some of that stuff. Um, Forecast, were you familiar with her? Did you see the rumblings about her on social media this past week?
No, this is the first time I heard about it. But I'll say this, if this is, the sister is down for like black people, I think that we should start. It would behoove us to start sending messages to other people who threaten her, who make threats on her life, who call her racist name. Like we should start making examples out of those people, so people stop doing that. Anytime people step up and be about black rights, you know what I'm saying? They gonna have to know that it may take a while, but every time they try it, it's going to be consequences every time. And then I think that over time, people will get the message that, you know what I'm saying, yo, we here now, you know what I'm saying, and it's over for all that other stuff. So, like, yeah, so shout out to that sister, and I hope, everything work out. But I passed the mic.
Yeah, there's something that Oni, and I think maybe Mia and Oni was talking about one time ago. You know, where is the intelligence? Where is the black intelligence, you know, group that seeks out, you know, these type of folks who would threaten this sister on the screen right now? Like, why, you know, where are our quote unquote nerds who are hackers and figuring out, you know, whose social media account that is and putting them on blast and all this type of stuff? Like, where is that in our community? You know, Oni, speaking of Oni, what say you to this?
I mean, I did see a video of her when she was a little younger, and she's talking. I'm all for black people. I'm Pan African and so on and so forth. So I mean, and like realistically, even if she wasn't, and that's a good thing she is, but even if she wasn't, any black person trying to do something politically, I'm not really going to hold it against them. I think one of the things that we don't do enough is pursue political power. Now, obviously, I'm not really an advocate of political power in white countries per se, but political power is political power. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to. I don't stand in anybody's way if they're trying to do that. Seems like a cool system. I think it seems like after Obama, we got more people, from other places, and then you also have like, but of course with Kamala, you just like, you know. So you just gotta like sit back and see. At the end of the day, it's still gonna be like a white country, it seems, and so I'm not necessarily too optimistic. I saw what, like I said, we all saw Obama and what he could do. Um, so yeah, like that's pretty much it. Like if you're, I would say I encourage people to pursue political power wherever they are, but I would also say just go somewhere where that political power has some deeper meaning. But
Yeah.
I mean, if she's doing it here, that's fine. Like more power to it. And I'm actually surprised to hear that she got third place in the general primary. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we should definitely be trying to, to add to what the forecast was saying too. The Pan Africanists should be trying to get to and make connections with these new faces, these new political faces, wherever they are. Again, I'm not the biggest fan like yourself, Oni. I'm not the biggest fan of black faces and white spaces, but she does have a political inroad, and I think that other politicians within this Pan-African concept should just band together and try to establish these connections. You know what I mean? And we should try to establish connections with them as well, and for opportunities, etc. Mr. Untouchable, what say you?
I like the sister. Me personally, I think that she has made some statements in reference to her being unapologetically a African person. Unapologetically, and I think that sometimes because the majority of us are English speakers, we forget the fact that the majority of the slave ships went to South America. The largest concentration of population of black people really is in South America. These people would be considered the so-called foundational black Americans. We forget that. But I always thought that there should be more of a push in these countries for dominance, like how the Americans did it. Their push for dominance. But I feel like sometimes I don't know if they lack the confidence. I don't know what it is. I know it's because of fascism. A lot of these countries was controlled for a very long time by fascist regimes, propped up by the United States of America, by the way. So, the so-called freedoms that we would have in Western countries, they don't necessarily have. But I always thought that there should be more of a push in these countries, in particular with black folks, especially Brazil, But I am proud of the sister. She came from being a housemaid to being the vice president because he won. I think he won.
Yeah, he
So
won.
so she is now the vice president of a very large country. So I kudos go out to her, man. I hope and I wish her success. I do believe that we should try to reach out to the sister. Some the people, my brothers and sisters who are Spanish speaking, could possibly reach out to her in certain places in the Caribbean and America and all around the world. Reach out to her and tell her, say, we are there. So if she needs assistance in any way we can help, let's help her.
I agree with that 100%. Thanks for that, Mr. Untouchable. Let's welcome in Tanzan this week. Tanzan, how are you?
Very good, thank you, brothers. Thank you for welcoming me. Greetings, brothers. Koku, Jose, and Mr. Untouchable. Is that Mr. Untouchable?
Yeah, Mr. Untouchable's here. The forecast is here. Oni.
Oh, yeah. Hi, podcast. I am chilling.
You guys should check out Tanzan on Swahili Nation on Tuesdays, I think it is, at I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in America. This past week, Oni was on there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Oni.
Talking a bunch. Yeah, but Oni was on there. It was a good conversation, though, real talk. Actually, the matron was on there as well, actually.
Yes. We had a very, very good panel and appreciate that.
Yes.
So this is the first time I'm hearing of the sister, but I am really excited about the development. We do tend sometimes to overlook certain parts. I know that for me, for a long time, the Caribbean was just like an extension of Black America. So I have since obviously edited that version. But one of the things that also separates us is not just the language, the space. There's so many things, but this one is usually the language. We don't really have that language. We haven't overcome the language barrier, and that's why sometimes when the Afro Latinos come to America, they, because of the language, they tend to identify more with their cultural aspect rather than with their racial aspect of Black America. So, yeah, I think that in the future, that's one thing that maybe we as Black or African people can start, learning the different languages and or even having translators. If we can't learn the language, we should employ some translators so we can have some sort of contact, because that's a big segment of the Black population to know. Just Brazil alone, the few of us still left in Argentina, Colombia, all these places. Maybe one of the reasons why they don't feel very Pan-African is that they don't feel that Pan-Africa has really reached out to them. But I'm glad that spirit is still there. So, yeah, inspirational.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at, Tan. I think that group is like particularly Brazil and like Colombia and stuff like that. To be honest, I'll say that we don't really think about them, to be honest, and that's a shame. As Pan-Africanists, we're supposed to be on that heavy. You're supposed to be on that heavy. So I hope that changes. In the chat, Afro Native World says, we hope to see Colombia build bridges with the rest of the African world, with Francia in office, primarily the Black Caribbean countries in Africa. And I agree with that. I hope that too. And if there's any way any of you guys think we can maybe, reach out, you guys share those ideas with me, and let's see what we can do. At the end of the day, just to go back to that previous prompt, we Black folks, Black equals African people, we got to really get this thing rolling, right? We can't wait for some white Spaniard to come and make those connections with a person like this. But I like this comment coming up here from Marcus Garvey, is the way to free minds. She says, congrats to her, but politicians must prove they are for their people. Gender is symbolic. We need leaders who build their nations. I like that. Erzuliism is here as well in the chat. Erzuliism says, what programs is she going to run? Well, that we don't know yet. At least I don't have any of that information. I don't know if Afro Native World has any information on that, but that's something that we need to identify.
She is a leftist. So I know the socialists in the room, their mouth start to water off of that. But you know what I mean? If you want to know what her position is, she's a leftist. So whatever. But as far as what Marcus Garvey was saying, I agree. I agree with that completely. Gender is symbolic, even though I could appreciate what Mia Motley is doing in Barbados.
Right.
Gender is symbolic, and we do need to build our nations. And we had politicians in the past who represent the fact that they was Black don't necessarily mean that they're going to do good for the people. So I really agree with that statement. So
yeah, for real. Yeah, that was a good discussion there. But we'll definitely want to keep our eyes on what programs she's running. And again, if you're a Spanish speaking Black, equals African person from that continent, and you have information, share it with us. Shoot us an email. Afro Native World says Poor People's Campaign. She preached and traveled to all the forgotten regions of the country where African, Black, and Indigenous peoples live. So we shall see. Azulism says a leftist is not pro-Black. So we shall see. I guess that's the last thing, but that's something we should keep our eyes on. This person, I remember Oni was doing this project at one point on his program, where he was like identifying all the Black nations and the political parties and this, that, and the other. She's one of these people who could be added, I guess, for Colombia, and let's keep an eye on her. But in the meantime, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 4. And I want to thank everyone who's here tonight, by the way. Everyone on the panel, Jay, Oni, The Forecast, Tanzan, Kevin Kare, 42, Mr. Untouchable. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys in the chat. I'd like to hear more from other people in the chat, not just Azuli and Afro Native World and Marcus Garvey, but everyone else who's out there as well. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, share the content if you can. Much appreciated. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4 is how to be confident in any situation that comes